Welcome to A Dog's Devotion. I'm your host, Carla Basaki. Today's episode is all about community, the importance of creating safe, welcoming spaces where both dogs and humans can connect, play, and, well, just be. Because when we come together through our dogs, something truly magical happens. Our four-legged friends remind us what pure joy looks like. They bring us outside, spark conversations, and often become the bridge that connects strangers who might never have met. In a world that can be feeling busy and disconnected, dogs ground us. They remind us how to slow down, to laugh, and to love freely. That's why I'm so excited to introduce Mutts in the Six, a one-of-a-kind space in Toronto, Canada, and I should say the first of its kind in Canada, where dogs and their humans can gather, relax, share moments together, and maybe even have a couple drinks. It's more than a dog park, it's a community hub built on connection, care, and happiness. Because when we create spaces where dogs feel safe and people feel welcome, we're not just building dog parks, we're building community. So sit back and relax, cuddle up to your favorite pup, and get ready to hear all about Mutts in the Six. Welcome to A Dog's Devotion, the heartfelt podcast for every dog lover. Here we celebrate the unbreakable bond between humans and their dogs. Each week we sit down with inspiring guests who share powerful stories of love, resilience, and devotion. From the joy of adoption to the heartbreak of loss and the healing that follows, this is a space where we honor our best friends, the ones who leave paw prints on our hearts forever. Welcome to A Dog's Devotion, the podcast that celebrates the incredible bond between people and their dogs. Today's episode takes us to Toronto, Canada, my hometown, where something truly special is happening for dog lovers and for dogs themselves, a place where community, connection, and canines come together. My guest is Sylvia Larke, founder of Mutts in the Six, a one-of-a-kind destination for dogs and their humans. Now, this is not your average dog park. It's cleaner, safer, and so much more exciting. A space designed for both pups and people. Think great food, great drinks, and the perfect atmosphere to relax, socialize, and enjoy the company of your four-legged best friends. And I should say, leashes are optional, which I love. Sylvia's vision is changing how we experience dog ownership in the city, making it more inclusive, fun, and connected. And Sylvia, it's a pleasure. You know, I'm in Mexico City. You're in Toronto. That is my hometown. And I said to you earlier, gosh, if you were around when I lived in Toronto, Max and I would have been there every day because there's nothing
Yeah.
worse in the middle of winter going to one of those dog parks on Wellington, and it's freezing cold and it's ice and muddy and anyway,
Yeah.
thanks for joining me. This is such a cool idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I really enjoy hearing your podcast and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Thanks. So I know you've got a dog behind you. What's his name?
Yeah, this is Layla and I have one dog and one cat.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So was Layla the inspiration for starting this, or what was?
She was definitely part of it. How it all started was, I think overall, similar to how you said at a dog park, you just have this feeling where it's like cold and you don't really want to be there. It's a bit of a chore sometimes. And so that feeling always kind of sat with me. And then once I get started petting her, I can't. She doesn't let me stop.
You know what? I just love it. That's what this show is all about, is having our dogs right by
Yeah,
us.
exactly. And Layla's a rescue and she's not, I didn't want to put her on a plane and I had to do a trip to Texas, to San Antonio, Texas. Not a first choice of place to go, but my friend had to do some research there and I work remotely. So I was like, why don't I tag along? So rather than putting Layla on a plane, which I knew she wouldn't love, she's a bit bigger too, so she wouldn't be able to be in the cabin with
So
me.
she'd be in the cargo then, which you don't want.
Yeah. No, and she actually came from Mexico. So I was very curious to how she was going to adjust to being kind of like close by in Texas. Anyways, and so we were en route and, as you do on a long road trip looking for a dog park. Day 2 of the road trip and we're in Louisville, Kentucky. And I search a dog park and this place PG&J's comes up. Seems like a pretty cool dog park. I arrive and it was that Oprah light bulb moment. Like I'd
That
never seen
aha moment that she
anything.
says? Yeah.
Yeah, that complete aha moment. I'd never experienced anything like it. I walked in, they asked for her vaccinations, kind of like found them through my email, got checked in, and then I saw people sitting there on their laptops, like introverts, like working, but their dogs
Mm.
were beside them. And then other people were at the bar socializing. And then there was a whole back area where there was like all these dog games set up and agility equipment. And there was these people that were staff, like watching the dogs kind of around as well. And it just felt really safe. It was just like this total epiphany. Like, I can't believe I haven't been to something like this. Like, I have to find this in Toronto. Like, I will be here all the time in Toronto. So I started researching and I couldn't find anything. So we continue on and I'm just like, let's just go to dog bars. Like, this is the word. This is, I guess, what it is. And I realized in the States, it's this whole industry that we don't have in Canada. And it's these off leash dog bars. We ended up going to 10 of them on the way to Texas. And when I arrived in Texas, I spent every single day working remotely from this dog bar. And I just would chat with the owners and the staff and just learn everything I could about how to set up this space in Toronto. And so that was my dream, is to have a permanent location in Toronto where people could come. It's for introverts, extroverts, every age group. It's just this really fun, amazing place where people can like let their dogs be dogs. And that was the inspiration. So yeah, she was
You know,
definitely part of it.
you mentioned a couple things that I thought was interesting. First, Layla's from Mexico, and my dog Max was from Mexico.
Mhm.
So good for you for doing that because there's lots of dogs here that need good homes. But why do you think it's such a huge market in the US and then there's none in Canada?
Yeah, I think my perception over my short
Yeah.
time there is that animal welfare is a little bit different too. Like, I find some of the behavior for some people, like, don't get me wrong, like, there's so many amazing American people that just love their dogs. And this whole industry exists because there's so many dog lovers. But with such a large population, there are a lot of bad apples. And I do think that I'll give you an example. I had a roommate when I was in Texas, and he was working on Rover. You've probably heard of the app where you can
Yep.
kind of dog sit. And twice someone left a dog with him, and they abandoned their dog.
You mean they left
No,
the dog with the
they
person
left the
that was
dog. Like, they completely ghosted. And then we had to like scrounge around trying to find a shelter for these dogs.
wow.
And it was a complete nightmare, and all the shelters were full. So I can't speak to enough about what's going on in other places because I haven't spent enough time there to know the logistics of the source, but there's definitely a big problem. In Mexico, you see it. There's a lot of street dogs, a lot more than you find in Canada. So yeah, and then for the States too, it's tough. There's definitely a lot of street dogs and a lot of need.
Well, the residents of Toronto must love this that they can come with their dog because everybody wants to be with their dog. And Toronto's got very strict rules when it comes to, as you know, going out with your dog. They're not allowed on the patio. They have to be on the other side of the fence. They can't be in the restaurant. Whereas you come, Mexico City is very dog friendly. So I used to bring Max
Yeah.
with me and he used to sit on the seat and the bar stool beside me.
Mm.
Even in places like Nashville, Tennessee, Max used to come out with us and listen to bands play and eat ribs. Canada is so different. So I think that
Yeah.
Torontonians are probably loving this idea.
Yeah, thank you. They definitely have responded well. It's everyone's different. Canada definitely behaves very differently when you go down south. I've also when I got first started with Mutts, I also did a trip to Colombia and spent some time looking at the dog spaces there. And I mean, dog bars aren't quite a thing there because it's just everywhere. Like, every bar is like friendly to dogs. Like, that
Right.
there's not even a need for the market. And so, yeah, as you travel down south from Canada, there's a huge difference in the relationship with dogs. Now, I mean, I can respect Canada's level of conservatism when it comes to health and food safety. And we don't want to have, dogs running around in the kitchen, and I get that. And so that's
Yeah.
why I'm here to provide something, cleaner and safer. And how can we balance that where everyone feels like this is a safe opportunity, but also, give some freedom to the dogs to be able to have their owners go out, have a good time, and they're there with them. Because how many
Sure.
times have you been to a bar or gone out with your friends and you don't, you're just missing your dog the whole time and everyone's just sharing dog photos?
Still, when I lived in Toronto, I seriously would be looking at my clock, if I was out with my girlfriend saying, okay, I've been gone for an hour and a half. I really need to get home to Max. Like he was my
Yeah.
priority. I would rather spend my
Yeah.
nights at home with Max by myself
Yeah.
than going out. So I think you open up the opportunity where people can socialize and go out and have their dog with them, which is so important for many of us dog owners, right? We want our dogs with us all the time.
Yeah.
How did
Yeah,
you get,
absolutely.
because can mentioned Canada has different laws about food regulations and safety and cleanliness. How did you get through those loopholes, or how did you make this happen with our laws in Canada?
Yeah, it's a great question. So rather than having a permanent fixed space, I mean, right now on Google Maps, it's registered at the Pint, which is our main location where we generally host most of our events. But for the most part, it's just getting the buy-in from owners of other restaurants. And now that the business plan has kind of changed to more getting Torontonians connected with dog-friendly spaces that they might not have been to before. So it's about getting those owners buy-in. But before that, it started with connecting with the folks from the health and safety area of Toronto. And so this was a big conversation with them. And each ward of Toronto has different representatives. And so getting their buy in and making sure that they're aware of what's happening. So the first time I ran an event, it was at the Pint. I had communicated with the food inspection agency and let them know, hey, I'm running this event. It's a little bit new for Canada. And I was a little nervous to kind of like almost sound the alarms. Like I was like, could I just fly under the radar? But I didn't want anyone showing up and kind of like, being like, this event has to end midway through.
Right.
So I gave them all the details and, you know, according to the laws, the rule is that animals can't be where food is being prepared. So as long as I have a separation from the kitchen, it's a completely distinct place, then everything will be okay. And so that's why the Pint ended up being a fantastic venue for us because the space is actually like a solarium detached, like kind of detached from the actual facility where any of the food preparation is so far away. And it's indoor and outdoor. So it's like our best possible venue, which isn't easy to find in Toronto. So it's really about having that perfect space, and that way, and then a venue that already does allow dogs leashed, but allows dogs, and then they are kind of like, oh yeah, we love dogs. This is a great event. So
Well, I would think that if the owners are dog lovers, they would love this idea because they understand
yeah,
don't need the desire of having your dog with you. How many
yeah.
events a month do you have, and how does that work?
The first year, I had an event almost every month. We were
Yeah.
trying something new constantly. We were doing dog yoga, we had a run club, and then monthly events on top of that. Year two, we're trying something new. We're having less events, one every couple of months, and a larger event at another venue that's just like the right thing, but also trying to change up the venue to get Torontonians acquainted with new spaces that are dog friendly.
Right. And what's the response been like?
It's been really good. It's so exciting. It's amazing to me how, in some ways, things kind of turn out differently than I expected. I think one of the things I had expected that would happen is I really overstaffed in the beginning, and I thought that everyone would be preoccupied with each other. The humans would be
Yeah.
humaning, like they'd all be,
Yeah,
and the
because
dogs would.
it's a place for humans to meet, right?
Yeah, and it kind of like a dog park too. You go to a dog park, you see people on their phone or just talking to each other. Like the attention isn't always that focused on the dogs at a dog park. And then I ran these events and like I'm like my staff like hardly have a dog to pet because the people are just totally watching their dogs. They never take their eyes off of them because they're so entertaining because they've never seen their dogs play with this new toy or play with this new dog. And I think that was probably the most shocking response that I had is how it made people more engaged with their dogs than I had expected. And then when I first started, I had a video that went viral. Like anything that goes viral, there was definitely a lot of backlash. And that came from people. The main upset was that people did not like the fact that I required dogs to be fixed when they arrived. And this was something in the beginning. I copied this model from what's happening in the States. This is a requirement for all the dog bars. And it's a good safety measure. Not to say that a dog who isn't neutered is going to be aggressive, but other dogs might not respond well to them. So it's just, how can we implement enough safety precautions for everyone who is there to feel safe as possible? So this was one of the decisions I made. But when this went online, people were like really mad about it, like saying I was discriminatory. And my initial reaction was like, I'm so sorry. Like, hey, listen, like I love all dogs. I have nothing against like unfixed dogs. It's just what I have to do. And at the beginning, I was like super apologetic and I was like responding to everyone. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I wish we could have your dog there. Now I'm totally different about it. Now I'm like, nope, this is exactly how we are because this is exactly how I'm going to make my customers feel as safe as possible. And it's not for everyone. Like this, you know what I mean? If you've had a dog that's been aggressive before, like it's just, this isn't going to be the right environment for them, right? We want to have dogs who thrive in off leash environments, dogs who feel comfortable, because not every dog does. And I'm not going to sit here and claim that this is the perfect event for every dog owner because I don't want people to feel that way because it's not.
But I think you bring up a really good point. And I've seen dog fights in dog parks, fenced in dog parks. And so you do
Yeah.
have that level of aggression and you have to be careful of that. And that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about is how do you make sure dog owners feel safe? I mean, Max was attacked a couple times at dog parks. I don't know
No.
if it was from dogs that weren't fixed. And I know most or all rescues actually stipulate that before a dog gets adopted or a cat, they are fixed. That's just
Hmm.
what happens. That's a
Yeah.
safety measure. People should not be backlashing that. But then, the thing with social media, as you know, and when I worked as an anchor at Global, people become very confident and very mouthy when there's a computer screen in front of them. And if they were
Yeah.
speaking to you face to face, they wouldn't say the things that they would say when there's a computer screen. And there's
Yeah.
always people that have they're negative about everything. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you put that aside and move forward and realized you're doing the right thing and it's a safety issue. And yeah, good for you. I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
Yeah, that's okay. You know what? Honestly, though, as hard as it was in the moment, these are also the things that brought up a lot of the attention and that were like good for the business too. So,
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. But as far as safety, I mean, people had no idea how much I put into safety. I mean, one, Layla's there. Like, I would do anything to protect her and
Right.
make sure she's in the safest environment. And probably of every single person at the event, I'm actually paying the least attention to my dog because I have so much going on and luckily I have staff there. The the precautions I have, I mean, I'm going to forget half of them because there's so many. That hiring team went through a whole training program. So I got them situated with a trainer who actually comes to all of my events. And she designed a customized training plan just for my staff on how to spot aggression, which ages of dogs don't go well together. How can we detect it? What are their hair, the hair on the back of the neck, the ears,
Right.
the eyes? What are all of these tells that we can tell, you know what, this dog's not comfortable. This dog's not happy here. And sometimes the dog's just not a great fit for the event. Owners are trying to get them more socialized, especially since this came about after COVID. There
Hmm.
was that bout where dogs weren't, a lot of dogs weren't in where they needed to be socialized. So how can we spot these dogs and help the owners? Right? Like if I see a dog that's like kind of nervous, I'm not going to say to the owner, okay, you need to leave. How can we actually communicate effectively with the owner to be like, hey, like, I don't know if you know this, but this sign over here means this. And so we're actually educating the owners so they are better equipped to tell these tales from the dog about what's potentially going to happen, how their dog is feeling, and it helps them be better connected. We have the staff then keep an eye on that dog, on that owner, just making sure that everything is like smooth. And we will also like write reports on things like this too. Like we know all the dogs' names. We have everyone check in. So anyways, this training program was excellent by this trainer and she helped us through that. And then Toronto Dog Moms, another fantastic Toronto group. Ingrid, the owner, she put together a first aid course. So in the case of anything happening, all the staff know exactly how to respond, what to do. And then at the event itself, every dog is checked in, up to date vaccinations, an assessment on their behavior, just making sure they look good. And at this point, we have so many familiar, regular dogs. Like we know exactly how they react to different things. I mean, fingers crossed and knock on wood, we have to date have had over 30 events and never one incident. I'm sure that it will happen at some point. Like when you're in this industry, I am always prepared and ready for it. But it is, something that I'm very fortunate at this point in time. Like, I think all of this work I've done on keeping a very safe environment and educating the owners has been, and then as well having Anna, our dog trainer, on site. So
A
she
hundred
also is
percent.
like there to spot things. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I'm sure that, dog owners want to make sure their dogs are safe in an off-leash environment. Everybody's enjoying some food, a couple drinks, and nobody wants
Yeah.
to worry about anything. You don't want to worry about your dog wandering around and getting into trouble, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And, this is why the staff are there too. They kind of spot people who might be potentially like having more fun with their drinks or something and less
Oh,
attention on their
right.
dogs. So my trainers will, or the bark rangers will watch that, and they'll know, how's that dog behaving, where's that dog going, things like that. So I have the best team of staff. I can't say enough good things. And honestly, Mutts has only been successful because I have had such an amazing team. Like one of my chief bark ranger, he's been with me since the first event and at every event, and I couldn't have done it without him.
Good for you. Congratulations. And you're
Yeah.
bringing it to a city that is such a strong dog loving community. And as I
Mhm.
said before, I think the people that live there really love this idea. And are you getting a lot of feedback from your regular customers and saying, can you expand? Can you bring it somewhere else? What are they saying?
Yeah, I've had so many requests to bring it to other cities. I've had a lot of requests for that. Yeah, it's you know what it there's a lot of opportunities on the horizon. We'll see where things go. I have a feedback form that I send out after each event, and I'm very grateful for the things that people say. It's really unlike anything else that exists in Toronto. There are so many dog events out there. There's so many markets. That's a big thing, like the dog markets, where you have all the vendors. I really try to shy away from that and provide a unique experience. And I think that leaning into that, people see that and they appreciate that when they step into a Mutts in the Six event, they're experiencing something they've never experienced before. Unless they've been to the States. But even so, it's got its own brand identity. So
Of course it does. And Mutts in the Six is a
yeah.
perfect name for Toronto because Toronto's known as the
Yeah.
Six, right?
Yeah.
I know you stand out. What you do is very different from everybody else. But do you do any events or activities bringing people together for like dog adoption days or meetups or theme nights? Is that how you stay eclectic and different?
Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely learned that having a great theme is everything. Like without a good theme, like I would say, I think the most challenging event I had, and the only event, one of the few I didn't completely sell out, was last year around this time, and it was a Thanksgiving event, and I think I just called it like a Thanksgiving event or something to that effect. And
Right.
it didn't have enough of what Mets is known for, and that's the uniqueness. And so I really started thinking, okay, you know what? I have to really go hard on these events and really make them unique. So the last one, which was one of the last ones that was our biggest event, was Coachella. And like that's what people love. They love like, oh, I love Coachella. Like this is
Yeah.
also my audience too. They like that vibe. And so, and then the next event we have coming up is Y2K9. And people love Y2K parties. And so just add the K9 and now you have a dog party. And it's a unique thing, and I think that's what people really gravitate towards. Done so many things in the realm of the run club, the yoga, and then every event has got some sort of theme. But I find every dog company out there generally leans on the same thing: Halloween,
Yeah.
Christmas party. So like for Valentine's Day, rather than just having like a Valentine's Day event, I did a couples yoga with your dog. Right. So I really tried to like make every event something different than just adding like the holiday of the month name to the theme. So
Hmm.
that's the goal. I don't know when I'll run out of ideas, but
No, you're not. You know what?
yeah.
You'll never run out of ideas, and there's always going to be people and their dogs that will want to come and participate in your event. So I don't think that that'll ever happen. But I'm curious, this journey, you talked about your Layla's from a rescue from Mexico, driving through down to Texas and hanging out at these dog bars. How is all this and then starting Mutts changed you personally?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways I could respond to that. I think I'll answer it from like a business perspective, and it's just really going for your dreams. Like I started this and I didn't have an MBA. my mom had a dog sitting company in the last few years, but I wasn't super knowledgeable in the industry. Like I wasn't some sort of like industry expert that owned a pet shop or, and went into it. So I had to take a good 7, 8 months, really doing a lot of research on everything. But I knew that all that time that I spent researching and learning was part of this. It's like this fire I had that there is like, I'm on the brink of something that people are going to want. And when you have that feeling, like you just have to go in 110% and just go for it. And then when you launch, it's all about the response. Like I thought everyone wanted this, but what are people actually saying? Like where you have to listen to the customers and where do they want to take things? My first event, I had a lineup of like 15 vendors. And something just didn't feel right about it. And you know what? I still have a few vendors at events, like maybe 3, maybe 4. Most of them are photography based or experience based rather than just like selling a dog treat. And listening to what the customers wanted and just like helping them be part of the whole collaborative process of building what everyone wants. That is the biggest learning experience is, those customers who keep coming back, like hearing their voice. What do they want? What do they like? What do they not like? It never stops with the learning and adapting it to have exactly what you dreamed of. So
You went after your dream.
yeah, I did.
There's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
I praise you very highly for that. I think people are most times afraid of going after what they want because they're always afraid of failure. But if you don't try, you're not going to know. And look what happened to you. You tried and it's a success.
Yeah, and you know what? You have to be comfortable. This is the hardest part of business is you have to be comfortable with the sunk costs and adapting. And what I dreamed of with Mutts when I first had that Oprah aha moment is not what I'm doing today. It's got a lot of changes and it looks up to that.
Yeah. Uh, how how many customers, like when you did your first event, how many people showed up and how did you get the word out? I know social media is big, but nobody knew Mutts back then when you first started.
Yeah. Yeah, that was scary because what I learned about the event industry is that ticket sales really come through the last few days. And that is stressful because you put down a lot of money for a venue, for gifts, bags, and raffles, and all these things. And there's such a high financial investment, especially when it's
Yeah.
your first time, it feels like a lot. Um, and you're like, okay, well, maybe I'm just gonna have like 20 people show up to the event, and that's not fun. And then the last, few days, it's like everything rolls through. The first event I had, I think the attendance was 130. And that
Wow.
was that was really that was everything. I mean, that's what I mean about hearing the feedback. I mean, that was the moment I heard, I thought Toronto wanted this. But it doesn't really matter what I think. What are they telling me? Like what is
Right.
their wallet saying? Okay, they're paying for tickets. They want to see
Layla really
something.
wants your attention, Sylvia.
She never wants to have her pet stop.
Oh, that's so cute.
But yeah, so and that's been kind of like steady. I depends on the venue and what the capacity is and the duration of the event, how many people I can handle for the space. But yeah, I mean, I would say I have a core group of about 25 to 30 regulars that come to every single event. They're just, yeah, they're the best. Yeah.
And it's, I still think it's not just a social event for the dogs to run free and to have fun together and be dogs,
Hmm.
but for humans to intermingle and meet new friends and meet new dog moms and new dog dads. I mean, that's part of building the community, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I love about it because you have people from all these different age groups. Like I
Mhm.
wouldn't normally be at a bar and, be chatting with someone. Like I've had literally elderly people show up in a wheelchair. And I like love being able to like just sit down and be like, is this event not like too active for you? And they're like, oh no, I love all the dogs, and I've had like babies there, which at first I was like, do I want kids in this space? And then I kind of like was like, I assigned a staff and I was like, just watch that kid constantly to make sure they're like not too hyper and
Right.
agitating any dogs. And then I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like I love having all these different age groups here. You don't normally
Right.
get this in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I'm overhearing conversations and people are sharing what they've learned. They're sharing what maybe Anna has told them about dog training. They're sharing a trick they learned to brush their dog's teeth better, trick for cutting their nails, in a way that the dog isn't as bothered. they're just chatting and they all immediately have this commonality. Like when you go to a bar, you can't like just walk up to someone all the time and just start a
You
conversation that
don't.
doesn't sound like you're trying so hard to connect with them. You just walk up to someone and like, hey, your dog's so cute. And you just start chatting. And it's just very casual and just a spot where everyone and anyone who is in that kind of similar mindset of, just loving their dogs and wanting to give their dog something unique and
Yeah.
special and celebrate them, they get to come together and share that.
I think it's great. There's something about dog owners where, first of all, when you walk around with a dog, most people will come up to you and say, "Oh, I love your dog." And you get to have a conversation with them and they live around the corner and you meet a new friend. It's happened to me
Yeah.
many times. That would never happen if you didn't have a dog.
Hmm.
There's, dogs just put a smile on people's faces and they just calm people down and
Hmm.
they're the best. And so that's
Yeah.
why I think, Mutts in the Six is such a great idea because you're bringing everything that I love, and I know I'm not the only one that feels this way, together. So
Yeah.
congratulations. Congratulations for following up on your dream and actually doing it and being fluid and go with business because that's how it is. And, just
Yeah.
keeping it together and coming up with some great ideas for events.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, I hope you'll come visit the next time you're in Toronto. I don't know how often you're here, but
We do come back once in a while because we have family there, but definitely I'll come by and
okay.
have something to maybe have a pint and something to eat and hang
Yeah.
out with the dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you inviting me to this.
Oh my gosh. Sylvia, thank you for bringing such a joy to Toronto's community and for creating a space where dogs can play freely while their humans connect, unwind, celebrate the love we all share for our pups. Now, if you are in Toronto or planning a visit, be sure to check out Mutts in the Six. She's on Instagram. She's got great videos, great photos. It gives you a really good idea of what Mutts in the Six is all about. This dog park is something that we've all been waiting for. Cleaner, safer, and filled with wagging tails, and of course, lots of happy faces. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in to A Dog's Devotion. Remember, dogs bring out the best in us. So let's keep building spaces that bring us together, just like Sylvia did. Thanks so much, Sylvia. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Okay,
Thank
bye
you.
bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on A Dog's Devotion. If today's story touched your heart, share it with a fellow dog lover. And remember, whether they're by your side or watching over you, our dogs are our greatest teachers of love, loyalty, and living in the moment. Until next time, give your pup an extra hug and never forget the devotion of a dog. I'm your host, Carla Bisacki. Thanks for joining me.